Notable new cards for tiny leaders reborn in The Hobbit. Well, 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 if it isn't the third Universes Beyond set of the year. I mean, at least it's medieval fantasy, but UB is still UB. I don't have as strong opinions on this set as a whole, so we're just going to skip straight to the good stuff. This is quite a small set, and an even smaller one once you cut out all the expensive stuff. All in all, this set has 125 tiny legal cards, with very few of them actually being playable. However, the few that are playable are really playable. With that said, let's get into them. Honorable mentions. Our first honorable mention is a fairly solid card, if a bit boring. Gollum, Riddlemaster, has a quite rare ability, which is punishing your opponent for casting certain mana values of spells. Of course, for this format, you're going to be choosing odd every time. Hitting 1-drops and 3-drops means that most of the time you'll be at least drawing a card before this guy goes. As a very aggressive card, black-based aggro decks would likely play this, but not much else. Sure, it's a 2-for-1, but all those other abilities lean more towards aggro. We'll see where this sees play, but I'm not fully convinced it's a particularly strong card for the format. The second honorable mention is a bit of an odd one, but is unique enough that I had to mention it. Bilbo's Gambit is a new white counterspell for white control decks that don't have access to blue counters. As a reprieve staple to a silence, I could absolutely see this seeing play in those very narrow deck strategies. My only concern is that I'm not convinced such an effect is as good as something like Aven Interrupter or even the standard reprieve, given the card draw part of the card. However, given this is relatively unexplored territory for such an effect, I'm interested to see what happens to it. And for our last honorable mention, we have the Great Goblin. With a payoff for persist combos and a very solid impulse draw effect, I could definitely see this being a very interesting card for the format. While goblins are usually a mono red aggro strategy, the Great Goblin has the potential to push Gobbos into a more mid-rangey Rakdos shell. Either as a commander or in the 49 with something like Slimefoot and Squee, I'm very interested to see what people can do with this guy, and whether or not it will be at all comparable to the more straightforward mono red goblin plan. And with those out of the way, let's move on to the top 5. Number 5. The Lonely Mountain. Up first in top 5 land, we have a land very worth mentioning. The Lonely Mountain is a new spicy land that seems incredibly powerful in one specific archetype. In an equipment-themed deck, this can quickly become one of the strongest pieces on your board. If you can manage to turn its main ability into a 2-mana dwarf generator, that can allow for some really solid grind capabilities. And given it can be fetched for thanks to its mountain subtype, you can be sure to have it on the field in just about every game. Plus, with the many new Equipment Matters cards in the set, I imagine this card will see a solid amount of play in the coming months. I especially want to highlight Dwalin, Weapon Master, as one of the best new Equipment Matters commanders for TLR, as that guy is a lot of fun to play. I would give him his own slot on the list, but he can share the slot with the mountain he calls home. Number 4. Kili, the Resourceful. At number 4, we have another very strong equipment card for the format. Kili the Resourceful is a legendary version of Pure Steel Paladin, making it an incredibly versatile card for TLR. Not only will this go in the 49 of just about any equipment deck, it can also be your commander. I suspect this card will be the new best Hammer Time commander in the format, purely because it can act as a passive value engine outside of the regular hammer stuff. With a healthy serving of miscellaneous equipment, this deck is likely to be a force to be reckoned with, and I'm looking forward to seeing where Kili will wind up in the greater meta. Number 3. The Queen of Dale. At the middle of our list, we have the Queen of Dale herself. Harboring a new mechanic to this set, Recruit. This is a very strong and very interesting legend. Recruit is essentially a better Connive, allowing for card selection, graveyard filling, and creature spamming, all in one keyword. Besides being a solid mono-white commander, the Queen easily slots into many powerful decks in the format, from the obvious include in Rafine to accruing constant and annoying value in decks like Mathis. If you're building a white deck in TLR, I would definitely ask yourself if you want the Queen of Dale in it, because I suspect the answer will be yes more often than not. But with the card quality of Modern Magic, I'm sure she will have to fight for a slot in many of those decks. Number 2. The Eagles Are Coming. Taking second place is a spicy new card that has a lot of game-ending potential. The Eagles Are Coming is a fancy new rescue spell that doubles as an eagle generator. For 2 mana, blanking a removal spell and replacing a creature with a big ol' bird is quite solid, especially if the creature you're returning has an ETB effect. However, if you can get the mana to kick it, Turning your entire board into 4/4s is a very potent method of ending the game. Beyond ETB-based decks, I'm not entirely sure which decks want to play this sort of effect, but with how powerful it can be, I'm certain it will build quite the capable nest in the format. Number 1. Bilbo, Thief of the Night. And at number 1, we have a doozy of a card. Bilbo, Thief of the Night is a bonkers blue card that is likely to take the format by storm, possibly literally. Adding a cheapifying effect to all of the cards cast from your command zone, exile, and graveyard is no joke, and having a pseudo Dreadhorde Arcanist effect stapled onto it makes for a bomb of a card. I would imagine just about any Izzet deck would love this card, with the top Izzet deck at the moment, Spider-Man 2099, absolutely foaming at the mouth for it. And beyond the applications in the 49, this can also be your commander. Expect to be seeing this card sticking around in the format, as this little guy is not going to be disappearing anytime soon. And that's the list. Did you like my ranking? Would you have ranked things differently? Is there a card I missed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to see me and Esper review a bunch more Hobbit cards, make sure to check out this video. And as always, stay tiny.